Armchair commanders, we call the shots. From our living room thrones where the action's hot. We're the generals of fiction, the masters of war. In silver screen battles with buttered popcorn. Armchair commanders, armchair commanders.
All right, welcome to the Armchair Commanders podcast. My name is John.
And I'm Jack.
Oh, you sure you're Jack? Not.
You're right, I am Mortuus the Barbarian.
Tell me, what is best in life, Mortus?
To drive out your enemies, to hear the lamentations of their women.
Crush your enemies, see them driven before you. And to hear the lamentations of the women. I'm surprised not having a snake sex orgy as a part of what's best in life, but...
No, you see, it's not, because it's another religion and therefore bad.
Ah, yes, the enemy religion. Heresy!
Heresy.
Okay. For our listeners at home, if you haven't ascertained from the clever artwork and title of the episode, we're doing Conan the Barbarian, starring the Governator, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold the Governarian.
I can't believe that dude was my governor at one point.
Oh yeah, I forgot you lived in Cali, didn't you?
I did. Which is kind of weird because, retrospect, it's not that terrible of a guy, actually.
Really?
Yeah, a couple years ago he came out. I don't know if it was actually a couple years ago, but somewhat recently, he did a video talking about how Nazis were bad because
It's what you do.
He grew up. He was born in Austria, and basically the premise of it, he's like, Nazis are loser. I know because my dad was one. I was like, Jesus.
Okay, that's honesty.
Yeah, I mean, mad respect to it.
When was he born?
I don't know, probably 50s or 60s.
Gotcha.
In that post World War II bloom. So tell me, what made you go with this as your... Holy shit, he was born in 1947.
Wow, I guess it's very, very possible his dad was a Nazi.
Yeah, apparently. He is 77. Maybe I just had a warped view of how old he was because, he's fucking fit and buff,
he's
even
Arnold.
as an old man.
But, yeah, I picked this because I was in the mood for a good fantasy movie, good old sword and sorcery.
Well, it is a fantasy movie.
Yes, it is.
But I don't know about the other adjective for this film, but...
Hey, fuck you, this movie's amazing.
Is it fun or is it good?
Yes.
No.
It is peak.
No, it is one of those two types.
Well, fuck you.
Okay. Give me your master's thesis for why this is a good fucking movie.
Hear the lamentations of their women.
That's one of his 6 words he says.
That's all he needs to say. But anyway, before I was so rudely interrupted by my inconsiderate co-host... Yeah, I should probably tell the story behind my username. Well, my name for this one. So I took Latin class at one point in high school. And on one of the first days, we got our Latin names. And, we were going around and the teacher is dubbing us different names. And he gets to me and he gives me something that's completely out of left field that I wasn't expecting. And it was something dumb, like Light of the Sun. And I was visibly disappointed. And he said, "Well, I couldn't just call you Death." And then everyone's like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "Yeah, Mortensen, Mortuus, the Dead or Death." And I was like, "Dude, that's fucking awesome." He's like, "All right, we're going with Mortuus then." And then one of my first campaigns of D&D, I couldn't decide on what to play, and I decided just out of nowhere, Mortuus the Barbarian. Because, you know, barbarians are the easiest to play both thematically and rules wise. And that's been my go-to character ever since when I can't think of a character to play in a tabletop game. Mortuus the Barbarian.
And it's stuck ever since.
Yeah, it's just been a running thing. I've played it in a campaign in Games Club.
I can't wait for you to be Mortuus the Barbarian when we play our Vietnam.
Oh, I was about ready to stat that, actually, because the Pigman, the LMG user, the rules specifically state if you like playing Barbarian in D&D, this is the role for you. So just Sergeant Mortuus with the LMG.
Sergeant Mortuus.
Yeah.
I had an idea for the character I wanted to be. I wanted to do the Radio Man.
Ah, yes, the wizard.
But I wanted it to be like crazy conspiracy theory. Like, basically, I wanted to be the Radio Man, but I wanted him to be like this, like off the wall, like super PTSD, like conspiracy theory guy. Like, he got exposed to too much Agent Orange, and like he wears like fucking tinfoil on his head and shit.
The Viet Cong are putting chemicals in our drinking water to take away our precious fluids.
The frogs are spying on us, man.
Where's it going with this? Oh, yeah. And me and the boys did a playthrough of this one game that's basically we have Baldur's Gate at home. And I decided to play an orc for once. And I named him Mortzug the Barbarian. And I thought, you know what? Fuck it. I'll let the gods decide. And I rolled his stats rather than doing the point buy system like a coward. And I rolled it rolled for me like god tier status. Like my highest attribute was strength, obviously. So 20 strength. And then I had like a bunch of 18s and 17s, which are really good. And my second highest stat was my intelligence. And one of the skills that it gave me was like medical expertise. And then it gave me like a school of magic as part of like a level up at one point. So I put storm magic. So I would always say like, Mortzug the Barbarian, Master of Storms, Doctorate of Medicine.
I didn't spend 8 years at evil medical school to be called Mister.
I didn't spend 30 years pushing this mill with no flour in it to not be called a barbarian.
That's what I want to know. So they send Conan to fucking hard labor child camp, which okay, and he's sentenced to this like literal like Sisyphus punishment of just constantly pushing this fucking flour mill. But we never really see what the point of this like. I assume it's like a flour or grain mill, but we don't know what the product is.
You never see them take flour out. You never see them put grain in. It's just the punishment wheel in the middle of nowhere. Just, I would kill for a parody of this movie where
this movie is a parody of its fucking self. It's fucking stupid.
It's awesome. I love it. But anyway, I would kill for a scene where, you know, he's pushing the big wheel, and then that scene comes where he gets like picked up and dragged away. I would have loved it if they like handed him a t-shirt which he wore that said, "I pushed the misery wheel for 30 years and all I got was this lousy t-shirt."
Also, is pushing the misery wheel like truly like a full body workout? I feel like that's got to be
Yes.
mostly like a leg day thing.
Yes.
I don't know.
Well, you got to push it with your arms. You're not pushing it with your teeth. I'm
Yeah,
just
but
impressed that he built up his calves like that because those are the hardest. That's the hardest place to add mass.
you're driving a wheel though. Like he could just put his back into it and not build up his upper body.
But then he wouldn't get those sick, iconic Arnold muscles.
I was gonna say, where's the scene where fucking Conan gets banished to the gold gym of death? Like,
Yeah, he just has a Bowflex in his sleeping quarters.
you will not come out until you've won a Mr. Olympian competition.
So, my question about this scene is like he gets raided, taken as slave, and then put to work at the misery wheel. Okay, sure. And then there are people there before him that have presumably gotten enslaved on other raids. And then him and his cohorts and fellow villagers fill out the roster. Like, we had a full cast pushing the wheel. And then it shows like years later he's the only one left. So did they just not go on another raid? Did they like do 2 raids and they're like, "Oh guys, this is really mean. We should stop." And then just never got any more slaves. And
I kind of thought about that, like skipping way closer to the end of the film where he meets James Earl Jones again. Which, by the way, not expecting to see fucking James Earl Jones in this film.
me neither.
But he's like, "You killed my father and my mother and my whole village and took my father's sword." He's like, "Oh, it must have been when I was younger." And it gave off the same energy as that scene from Batman where he's like, "You killed my parents." And he's like, "You're going to have to be more specific."
There's a name for this trope, and I'm glad you bring it up because it's a great story. Have you seen the Street Fighter movie?
The Street Fighter movie? No.
Well, me neither. But there's a scene in it where Chun-Li confronts Mr. Bison, and she does the same thing. She was like, "You destroyed my village, you killed my father," and blah blah blah. And he responds mostly with "What?" And then he was like, "The day Mr. Bison came to your village was the most influential day, an important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday." And that's the name of the trope. But for me, it was Tuesday. When the hero's expecting the villain to remember ruining their lives, and they're like, "Lol, no." Like, I do this weekly.
It's like the ultimate form of negging right there.
It really is.
Speaking of James Earl Jones, what did you think of the text I sent you?
The one where you're like, "Oh, that's a stupid haircut."
Yeah, so James Earl Jones is wearing like, it's very obviously a wig because he's wearing this like perfectly straight shoulder length hair, like Xena warrior princess style. Like it does not fit him in his like it just, he does not look good with this hairstyle. But it just reminded, and I'm curious if maybe it inspired Key and Peele, but the Key and Peele sketch about the like 600-pound like nerd named Wendell who like calls the pizza place and is like, "Yes, I'm going to need 10 large pizzas. I'm having a large party." And he just has like action figures up on the counter, like, or like he makes his own like music video. They look uncannily similar.
I hit that sexually.
Oh my gosh, he just jumped down a window.
But no, I thought his hair was fucking majestic.
Oh my god. Why is there so little fucking talking in this movie?
because it speaks for itself. Look at those muscles and then that action, and he's banging a chick, but oh my god, she becomes a demon.
Becomes a demon and he just chucks her into a fireplace.
So for our women listeners, this happens a lot with us men. When we hit a certain age, we become wandering warriors searching for purpose in life. And then a beautiful looking woman living in a hut in the middle of nowhere invites us in for wine and food, but really she just wants to touch our pee-pees. And then in the middle of our love making, she becomes a monster and we have to fight her off. It's annoying how much this happens.
Yeah.
I've been fooled 12 times.
Yeah, I totally relate.
I mean, what man hasn't had the wanderer phase where he becomes an old Western gunslinger, a medieval hedge knight, a Japanese samurai, a Chinese wushu practitioner, or a wandering homeless barbarian?
You know who I also wasn't expecting in this movie? Fucking OG Iroh.
Oh yeah, Mako. I actually knew he was in this.
I
can conjure a demon the likes of hell.
I was reading it, and apparently they originally intended for Arnie to narrate his own story, but the first scene that he had lines, it took him all goddamn day. Like, he had to recite the line like 40, the lamentation of the women line 40 times before they got a good take of it, and they're like,
Jesus,
we cannot have this motherfucker narrating this film. That's how Mako got hired, is because Arnold Schwarzenegger couldn't say shit back then.
So, while we're on the topic of Arnie, have you ever watched a movie commentary by him on a movie where he's in?
No,
it's honestly,
or at least I don't remember.
It's honestly kind of wholesome just how excited he gets about his own acting. Like for some movie where he's a construction worker and like it shows him working, Arnold says shit like, ooh, in this world I am a construction worker. And then
he's passionate about his craft, you know?
Yeah, I love it. It's so wholesome. He's like, I was a robot in this movie. Watch me protect this kid.
Terminator, Arnie. It's called Terminator.
I really want to see the commentary he has for this movie. Look at me. I'm pushing the misery wheel.
You know what's hilarious? So the prop, his sword, it's a real sword. Like, they had it like actually forged. And it cost the fucking production studio $10,000 to make Arnold Schwarzenegger's sword in this.
Holy shit, really?
Yeah. And he just fucking walked away from the set with it. Nobody stopped him.
Yeah.
And there's an interview of him where he is actively like the governor of California, and the fucking Conan sword is on the wall behind him.
Hell yeah. Which, that makes the outro age beautifully well. Because he was like, oh, Conan went off to have many adventures and eventually became king of the land. But that's a story for another day.
Can I have the movie telling me about how he became king of the land? Because all I got was how he defeated a fucking snake person.
That's enough. The snake cult. I mean, did they get a sequel? I'm pretty sure they did.
They did.
Hell yeah.
It was called Conan the Destroyer, I think.
And I assume it wasn't great, but whatever.
It was about as good as this one. That was another thing I was not expecting, was James Earl Jones transforming into a fucking snake.
Yeah, man. Snake orgy.
Snake orgy!
That scene when he opens his eyes and they're snake eyes.
I think, okay, so with the whole snake thing, this is what really bugs me about this movie, is that I can follow the story, yes. there's not really a reason for anything that occurs in this movie other than near the end where Conan is like, I need to get vengeance. But like, so he meets his fucking buddy who's the archer and thief, and they're like, oh, we should go to this city because the demon lady that you had sex with, and then threw it into the fire pit, said you should go to this city. Which, the fuck, that's a terrible fucking idea. Like, somebody kills you and you're like, you know what? I'm going to go to this vacation spot they recommended. So they go to the city and then they just run into this woman, and basically, they're talking about the snake cult, and there's this snake cult tower in the middle of the city, and they're like, we should break in. And they meet this woman and she's like, do you know what's even in there? And they're like, no. And she's like, you're fucking stupid. I'm in. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? What?
Hey, it gets boring in that city. Like,
and then we get introduced to her catchphrase, oh, you want to live forever? Which she says fucking 7 times.
I don't know. There are several buildings in Pier that I have never been into. But if I see like 2 miscreants from out of town being like, I want to break into this building because a lady I was having sex with turned into a demon and told me to go here, I'd be like, fuck yeah, dude, I am invested. Let's break into this bitch. Because I want to see what's inside too.
But I think the first snake cult scene is really indicative of really the whole vibe of this, because very, very little is said during the scene. They break in, they split up. Conan finds jewels and promptly steals them because fucking why not? And then he comes face to face with a giant like anaconda thing, which is probably one of the worst fucking puppets I have ever seen in the world. Like, it looks like a robot chicken puppet, okay?
Speaking of robot chicken, they apparently did a bit on the scene where they say what is best in life, and then they turn it into a musical number.
I'm going to have to watch that after this. But then he kills this giant snake as the snake cult is about to sacrifice a topless woman because, of course, that's what this movie is about. It's about violence and titties.
And drinking. Don't forget drinking.
Yeah. Well, so Conan is actively killing the giant snake in this snake cult pit as they're about to sacrifice a woman to the giant snake. And the entire snake cult doesn't notice that Conan is decapitating their giant ass snake until the woman jumps into the pit and she cries out because, like, oh my god, the snake is dead and I'm actually not going to be eaten. Like, really, motherfuckers?
I mean, he did it sneakily. They were so into their
orgy. They couldn't
orgy.
hear him fucking fighting the snake over the goddamn orchestra in this film.
I mean, hey, look at it this way, when you're having a snake-fueled orgy, you get used to a bunch of squelching noises and strange sounds, okay? It gets hard to distinguish when you're drunk and in the heat of the moment.
It's not the only thing that gets hard. Ayo!
Ayo, it's not the only head that comes... Wait. The only head that comes off. I mean, we all make mistakes in the heat of passion.
Do you think the snake cult believes in circumcision?
Maybe. Probably.
I know that's a really weird thought to have, but, snake cult is a religion.
I kind of wish you hadn't said that, because there's a huge debate going on in the literature and tabletop community. Like, is the average D&D character circumcised? Probably not, but what if?
Well, that would presume that Christianity exists or Judaism exists within the D&D world.
Or religions in universe follow circumcision rules. Which, that hasn't really been fleshed out, so I'm going to have to write a letter to Wizards of the Coast asking them. And like, there's this huge thing about D&D porn having circumcised characters.
D&D what? Orc?
Porn.
Oh.
Yeah,
Something tells me that Wizards of the Coast hasn't signed off on a lot of D&D porn.
no, it's just a thing that pops up in the comments of D&D porn works.
For a second, I thought you said orc, and I'm trying to imagine who the fuck was circumcising an orc.
Well, when they're babies, it's easier, I suppose. Maybe that should be a campaign, like circumcise the Orc King without killing him, and then get back and give the Grand Wizard his fucking yeah. You get where I'm going with this. Fuck.
That could be the boss fight. Is you have to fight the orc that does all the circumcisions, and he has just like a giant ass sword.
Circumcise a giant and wear it as a hood when you come back to the wizard.
This is the cape of sensitivity.
God damn it.
I don't know. I've never had a foreskin, so.
Me neither.
Up top. Oh, God. I will give this film some props. The musical score to this film was actually quite good.
Oh, it was amazing. This sweeping orchestral soundtrack.
But that's about all I'm going to give it credit for.
So apparently this film was shot in Spain, and the Spanish army agreed to help with this movie. So a lot of the extras were Spanish soldiers, and being as it was probably boring as fuck to be a Spanish soldier in the early 80s, they were hyped about this movie.
Well, I was going to say, you enlist into the army, and then like you find out, I get to be in the snake cult orgy scene? Fuck yeah.
I get to be killed by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, and from what
Arnie kill me.
From what I can gather, aside from the heat and exhaustion of filming in fucking Spain, they had the time of their fucking lives with this movie. In fact, they caused a lot of reshoots because of how overzealous they were about their death scenes.
Well, I can only imagine how much fun this movie would be. It's like I said earlier. This isn't like a piece of art. This is a dude was given a budget to make a movie about boobs and swords.
Yeah, and it's not like Conan the Barbarian was an unknown at this time. Like, his comics date back to like the 30s.
Yeah, that was another thing. They originally started trying to produce this film in the 70s, but it wasn't until the 80s that they got to because of the like licensing issues that they were running into.
Yeah.
Which who is out there owning the right to Conan the Barbarian and being like, you know what, I'm keeping this close to the chest, because what if they don't meet my artistic vision the way I think they will?
Yeah.
I did watch an interview with Arnold Schwarzenegger where he talks about the fact that he was very proud. Basically, he's like, it was an era of filmmaking where like a lot of characters couldn't be done because, you know, special effects weren't where they needed to be. And so he was super proud of the fact that he was able to bring this character to screen, because he was like one of a half dozen people in the world who had the body type that could like actually match the like artistic paintings of Conan from the comic books and the novels.
Yeah.
It's the same way that like the Incredible Hulk was done very like, yeah, Lou Ferrigno, who got spray painted green because he was like one of the few muscular dudes in the world who could play the Incredible Hulk just as is, you know?
Yeah.
So Gotta give Arnie some props for that.
Yeah, just super buff. Apparently, he was too buff when he signed on for this because he couldn't like wear his armor or wield his sword properly. So he actually toned down his muscles, which if that doesn't fuck
They
hard, I
sent,
don't know what does.
they sent Arnold to the real wheel of suffering to get to the right size.
The misery mill.
I kept thinking during the misery mill scene, I'm like, one, it's amazing that Conan survived the misery mill, and two, it's amazing that they let all the other kids die, but they gave Arnold the proper like protein intake to look like a bodybuilder.
I know, right? That was really kind of them. Giving him a Bowflex in his quarters, allowing him to go for a run every morning.
Protein milkshakes.
Yeah, protein milkshakes. Just food, just fucking stocked full of creatine.
So what are you drinking today?
I am, I was inspired by this movie, and I'm drinking what they drank in the movie, Coors Banquet.
Sounds about right. I'm surprised you didn't like get some post St. Patrick's Day like green beer kits. Turn your beer green like the people soup they were having at the snake orgy.
No, I've had bad experience with green beer.
Oh?
Green diarrhea the next day.
Oh.
Yeah, the beer shits are even more fun when you have green food coloring that doesn't digest.
Did you know that if you drink a Purple Rain and you vomit it, it comes out gray?
Well, I knew that if I drank Purple Rain, I'd have like a fucking heart attack or holiday heartbeat syndrome or whatever the fuck was going on with me that one night.
Yeah, I figured that out. If you
Yeah,
puked
you're the one that I had to look after me.
Oh yeah, because that was a brilliant idea. John, you're an EMT. Yeah, I'm also drunk. I can't help you.
Well, yeah, look at everyone else we were drinking with, drunk non-EMTs. You were more qualified still.
Yeah. The drunk guy or the drunk EMT, who's going to be able to help me better?
Yeah, see? And I lived, I think.
I remember one time drinking with some buddies, and this one guy's like, yeah, I think I tweaked my ankle. He's like, can you take a look at it? I'm like, yeah, sure. And I just like fucking punched this dude's ankle. He's like, god damn it, what was that for? I'm like, checking your pain tolerance. Fun fact, probably not okay. Viewers at home, you should be happy to know I don't do the EMT thing anymore. So you don't have to worry about me showing up on your ambulance.
Man, like, can you think of a better hero archetype in sword and sorcery fantasy rather than the barbarian hero?
Speaking of sorcery, what'd you think of them like trying to resurrect Conan, and they had to like fend off the what are they, like demon ghost things?
The wraiths? I don't know.
Yeah. They literally are like stabbing ghosts and they die. Like,
I mean, yeah, swords hurt even when you're a ghost.
the demon ghosts are going to try and steal Conan's body. Ugh. I don't know.
It's an interesting way of handling resurrection. Having the party fight off ghosts while the other person recuperates.
You have to remember that next time you DM something.
I will. I'll have you guys in Vietnam fighting off ghosts. Which, there actually is a game. I've told you about Weird War 1 and Weird War 2. but I'm pretty sure there's a module for Vietnam and Desert Storm and whatnot. Just a bunch of spooky supernatural shit during war.
I just can't wait for Weird War 1812.
You can fight off the Vietnamese rock apes.
So my drink today, because I'm still not doing alcohol, I am doing 0 sugar sun-kissed orange. It's a fine vintage. Opened 30 minutes ago.
Notes of orange in it.
With a slight hint of aspartame.
Mm-hmm. Wow, aged in barrels for 2 years, I assume.
Yes. Actually, yep, there is aspartame. Never mind. So yeah, very boring.
Man, this movie kicks ass. I don't care what you say.
The entire goddamn movie is a trope. I almost was going to get mad at you and say this isn't even a fucking war movie if it wasn't for the last 5 minutes of the film where, Conan gives his, "They shall know that two stood against many, da 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 da." And then they proceeded to have the most over choreographed fight scene in the world.
And that little booby trap where he impales that dude.
Booby trap.
Because, as we all know, one of the things they taught him at Misery Mill University was how to set up a fucking death trap using wood and rope.
That should be an Armchair Commander t-shirt right there.
Misery Mill University.
Yeah.
You get all the knowledge you need, apparently. Fuck, we were idiots that went to a state-approved university and got our degrees, and we could have just been pushing a mill for like 20 years.
Yeah, we could have pushed a mill for 20 years and then stole a sword out of a cave and then get taken in by some pseudo-Mongolian type tribe and trained in the ways of war while also being involved in a weird breeding program with a super problematic sex slave situation. Like, yeah, we could have done that instead of going to a liberal arts college.
Don't forget the gladiator matches.
Oh, yes.
Kick ass.
Yeah.
More
fucking Arnold spends more time fucking yelling and screaming in this goddamn movie than he does talking.
I loved the scene where he's falling down the hole after being chased by rabid dogs. Why
do people keep trying to bite his neck in this movie?
Which, by the way, I'm pretty sure they actually sicked real attack dogs on him for this scene.
Hey, Arnie, joke's on you. We got rabid dogs.
Stupid asshole.
Why don't you go lift some weights?
Man. And I'm also really glad Uncle Iroh, or for the cool kids at home, Aku, the Shogun of Sorrows.
Wasn't Aku done by Greg Baldwin?
Hell no. The original Aku was done by Mako, but the new one for the finale, the final season, was done by Greg Baldwin, being as it was like over 10 years after Mako's death.
Okay.
And for the cool kids, he was also the narrator in Dexter's Laboratory. Past the vaulted doors.
I want to see what all voices Mako did. Let's see. Did you know that he went to the Pratt Institute School of Architecture?
I did not. It's how he made his house in this film.
Huh. Apparently, Mako's dad worked for the U.S. Office of War Information during World War II.
Interesting.
Holy sh! Did we even notice this?
Notice what?
Fucking Mako played Admiral Yamamoto in Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor.
If we didn't, we ought to be ashamed of ourselves.
I guarantee we did not talk about that.
I don't. I'm at for the purposes of saving face. I want to say we did, but
We didn't.
fuck you.
So, folks at home, it was a good run. Sorry we didn't make it to 100 episodes, but me and Jack are going to have to go commit seppuku after this. So
yeah, to save our honor. I mean, commit Sudoku if you want to, but I'm crashing my plane on an enemy ship.
What enemy ship?
I'll make us an enemy. I don't think we have any rivals on this podcast.
He also was a voice actor in the Rugrats.
Oh, I think I did know that. But what was his role in the Rugrats?
Oh, he was like in the Rugrats movie. I'm guessing that's when they did the adoption story arc.
I know that George Takei voiced Kimmy's dad in one of the episodes when he comes to visit them.
Oh my god. He was in 2 episodes of Walker, Texas Ranger.
As who?
Just a random character. Anywho, I know this is a fantasy movie, but how come they keep talking about Valhalla, but they don't reference any Nordic gods?
Because they pick and choose.
Ah, yes. Rule of cool. Never mind.
I mean, you could say the same thing about Mad Max Fury Road, how they reference Valhalla.
We shall make you shiny and chrome.
I shall carry you through the gates of Valhalla.
Mediocre.
Is that on our list?
I don't think so, but after reviewing this, why the fuck not?
Exactly.
Nothing even matters anymore.
No, it does not. I mean, I count this as a war movie.
This, for me, barely scrapes the category.
I firmly believe it is a war movie.
Okay.
But as I've mentioned in every single episode, I have a very loose definition of what war movie is. I was trying to get us to review Freebirds because it's a war against a holiday.
I thought you were going to say the Angry Birds movie, but
actually, that's a war against pigs, right?
I mean, let's not go down this road. Let's rate this sumbitch.
But what should be our rating?
1 to 5 snake orgies.
You're goddamn right. 5 out of 5 snake orgies.
Okay, why 5 out of 5?
Because it's amazing. It's fun.
And you're going to have to do more than just, I think this is fun and amazing.
It's stupid and entertaining. And Arnold's muscles and the snake orgies. James fucking Earl Jones is the snake cult guy.
Oh my god. Okay. This, for me, I understand that this is a cult classic, and I understand that it influenced a lot of things, and it's very fun seeing big name actors in this early on in their career. That being said, this is not a fucking work of art. So, 2 snake orgies, and the second snake orgy is like a AIDS only invite.
I mean, they need to have their fun too.
Did you know that there's like a dating app for that? It's like herpesmeet.com.
I did actually know that.
So yeah, the second orgy is for people with only STDs, so that the first orgy can be the clean one.
But so according to Rotten Tomatoes, this has a 67% on the tomometer and a 74% on the popcorn meter. I think those are too low. This movie kicks ass.
Don't get me wrong, if all you want out of a movie is titties and swords, then this movie's got you covered. But if you're looking for a good story, then no, this doesn't have it.
If all you're looking for is titties and swords, yes.
Well, we know what metric Jack goes by for these movies.
Titties and swords. You're goddamn right.
All right. Is there anything else, Jack? Or, I mean, Mortus the Barbarian?
Mortus the Barbarian. No, there really isn't.
Alrighty. Looking at my schedule, I think, don't hold me to this, but I believe our next movie will have a guest be joining us, and they have requested Jarhead.
I've seen that movie before.
So yeah, we'll be heading back to the Middle East.
Welcome to the suck.
If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a review. The stars do matter. If you want additional content from us, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all those good places. Until next time, I've been John.
And I'm Jack.
And we will see you in Valhalla.
Bye.